Hello, guys. Welcome back to TFD. Well, this is one of those situations where you kind of saw the signs coming for a while, and now it's like, yeah, it's actually happening. Adam Silver and Kathy Engelbert, they didn't just stumble into this. They orchestrated it. This was calculated. This was strategic. And whether you agree with it or not, you've got to admit, they got it done. Now, here's where it gets interesting. There are legit superstars around this league right now. Players with real market value, real draw. And you're telling me a market like Houston, with ownership tied to the Fertitta family, you don't think that's going to be appealing? Come on. Texas is a massive sports market. You put the right names there, you give them the spotlight, they're going to be treated like A-tier stars every single night. That matters in this league right now. But this is where things start to feel messy. Because I'm telling you right now, this is not over. Somebody, somewhere, is going to push back legally. Whether that's the Mohegan tribe tied to the Connecticut Sun, whether it's potential ownership groups in Boston, or even the state of Connecticut itself. And let's talk about that for a second. Connecticut wasn't sitting on the sidelines here. They came in with a serious offer, around $325 million. Arena situation? Ready. Infrastructure? Ready. Commitment? Clearly there. And the league basically said, no. Why? Because of this unwritten or at least inconsistently applied rule about NBA ownership ties. That's where it starts raising eyebrows. Because if that's not a strict prerequisite, then what the hell are we really doing here? And I'm telling you, don't be surprised if Connecticut challenges this. From a legal standpoint, there's at least an argument to be made that the process wasn't exactly open or competitive. Now, shifting back to Houston, the return of the Houston Comets, it sounds nostalgic, it sounds exciting, but let's be real for a second. That franchise folded. So this idea that you can just revive a brand and expect instant success, that's risky. We've seen similar moves before, teams like the Portland Fire getting brought back into conversations, and people assume history will repeat itself. But it doesn't always work like that. And yeah, the Golden State Valkyries have generated buzz. They've shown what's possible, but they might be the exception, not the blueprint. Meanwhile, Connecticut didn't exactly have a choice. They needed to sell. But the league steering that outcome away from Boston, possibly to protect a future expansion fee while already having Houston lined up, that's where this starts to feel less like coincidence and more like premeditation. And if that's the case, then trust me, this story, it's just getting started.
Shout out to Alexa Philippou. So, here's what's being said. Breaking. The Connecticut Sun is being sold to the Fertitta family to bring the WNBA back to Houston, sources confirmed to ESPN. The team was sold for $300 million, sources said. Team will play final season in CT in 26 before relocation. The Houston Comets are back. That is right. Let's see if we can get a little bit more specific. On this article here, it says, with a new collective bargaining agreement in place for the 2026 season and beyond, the Women's National Basketball Association can move on to other items of business. Among those items is the announcement of the strongly rumored move of the Connecticut Sun to Houston. Owner Tilman Fertitta, who owns the Houston Rockets, man, I love this. The Fertitta family has reached a deal to purchase the Sun and bring the WNBA to Houston. An official announcement is expected next week, sources tell PaperCity Magazine. The agreement is, quote, unofficially done, a source said. The team is expected to be renamed the Houston Comets, after the Bayou City's previously beloved WNBA team. The Fertittas, owners of the Rockets, are purchasing the Connecticut Sun, and the existing WNBA franchise will be moving to H-Town, with its first season in the Bayou City expected in 2027. The Comets will practice in the Houston Rockets' new training facility and play at the Toyota Center. This is going to be so interesting. In December, Michael Shapiro reported that the latest bid from the Fertitta Group was above $250 million, which exceeds recent WNBA expansion franchise prices and should satisfy the sale goals of Sun ownership. In addition to owning the Rockets, Fertitta currently serves as the U.S. ambassador to Italy, but the billionaire's ties to Houston go back many years, including the previous iteration of the Comets, and it seems that it has made an impact. From 97 through 2008, the Comets were Houston's original WNBA franchise, led by iconic names such as Cynthia Cooper, Cheryl Swopes, and Tina Thompson. The Comets won the league's first 4 titles, 97, 98, 99, and 2000. But fan interest gradually waned as the team lost relevance in the years that followed, and that eventually led to the club being dissolved at the end of the 2000s. It goes on to talk about the fact that interest in the league has increased since Caitlin Clark's arrival and improved economics. Besides having Toyota Center as a ready-made arena and a state-of-the-art practice facility, the Rockets also jointly own their own regional sports television network, the Space City Home Network, which would be a natural fit to broadcast WNBA games during the NBA offseason. Thus, perhaps in contrast to other cities, Houston has ready-made infrastructure to immediately support a new team. The Sun currently play in the WNBA's smallest media market, and they finished the 2025 season with the league's 3rd worst record. Thus, speculation had swirled for some time that a move could prove necessary. Wow. And one of the biggest breaking updates right now? The Houston Comets are officially set to return for the 2027 season. That's massive for the Women's National Basketball Association, and it instantly shifts the future landscape. Now here's where it gets exciting. If JuJu Watkins ends up landing in Houston through the draft, that's a franchise cornerstone right there. Marketable, elite talent, superstar potential. She would be the perfect face to relaunch the Comets and bring instant energy back to the city. And let's be real. Pairing a high-profile rookie like JuJu with a fresh market like Houston, that's exactly the kind of move leagues dream about when they expand or relocate. Because now you're not just relaunching a team, you're relaunching a brand. And if they get that draft pick right, this thing could take off fast. So, there we have it. The Houston Comets are back. And not just back in some temporary setup. No, we're talking about a full return, anchored in the Toyota Center. State-of-the-art arena, big market energy, and a clear signal from the Women's National Basketball Association that Houston is about to matter again. Now, if they land the right players, look out. Seriously, look out. Because ownership in Houston, especially with the Tilman-Fertitta connection, this isn't going to be a slow rebuild. This is going to be aggressive. They're going to push chips to the middle of the table and try to fast-track relevance. Free agency, trades, marketing, everything is going to be dialed up. But here's the part that doesn't sit right. Connecticut and even Boston-linked groups came in strong. We're talking about a $325 million valuation. Serious money, serious intent. And yet, the winning bid effectively comes in lower, about $25 million less to move the team to Houston. That's where people start asking questions. Because at that point, it's not just about valuation anymore. It's about preference. And what does the league prefer? NBA-aligned ownership. That's the pattern. That's the priority. And whether it's officially written down or not, it's clearly influencing decisions. And this is where the broader frustration kicks in, because this is the uncomfortable truth about franchise sports. Teams aren't permanent community assets. They're movable pieces. You can build a fan base, you can build history, you can build identity, and it can all be relocated if the numbers, the market, or the ownership alignment makes more sense somewhere else. And for fans, that's a tough pill to swallow. Because you're not just supporting a roster, you're investing emotionally in something that isn't guaranteed to stay. Now, look at Connecticut specifically. The Connecticut Sun weren't irrelevant. Far from it. This is a franchise that's been competitive, consistently visible, and recently successful. Finals appearances, strong attendance, a loyal regional base. This wasn't a failing market begging to be rescued. And yet, they're the ones losing out. Meanwhile, the Houston Comets, historically great, yes, but also a franchise that folded. That's a fact. So now you've got this contrast, a stable, functioning team with strong roots versus a revived brand in a larger market that the league wants to prioritize.
And the league chose the latter. Even when Connecticut offered more, even when Boston offered more, even when the infrastructure was already in place. At some point, you have to call it what it is. This wasn't purely about basketball. It was about market strategy. It was about ownership alignment. It was about long-term league positioning. And look, maybe Houston thrives. Maybe this becomes a powerhouse again. Maybe the Comets rebuild something special. But that doesn't erase how this played out. Because for fans in Connecticut, this feels like a loss that had nothing to do with performance and everything to do with business decisions behind closed doors. And that's why this story doesn't just end here. There's frustration, there's potential backlash, and yeah, maybe even legal noise down the line. Because when higher bids get passed over and loyal markets get left behind, people start asking questions. So yeah, Houston's back, but not everyone's celebrating. Tell me what you think down in the comments. Don't forget, like and subscribe.